Sunday morning and they sing hymns and they praise the Lord and you listen to the sermon, good or bad, and you shake hands with your neighbors, and it seems like the one place in America you'd think you'd be safe, a church. But sadly, that isn't always true. Violent attacks and even deaths on church property occur far more often than people realize. The good news, you can protect yourself. What are you going to do? You're going to give church members AK-47s at the door to let them blow away those intruders? Mark Market has that discussion with a security expert who helps churches keep their congregations safe.
911, this is Super Short.
There's a shooting at New Life. Church.
One of the most publicized acts of violence at a church happened in Colorado Springs in 2007. 24-year-old Matthew Murray opened fire in the parking lot of New Life Church after the 11 a.m. service. Murray struggled with mental disorders and became angry at Christians and bitter after being denied a chance to go on a missions trip. He took the lives of teenage sisters Stephanie and Rachel Works and injured their father and 2 other parishioners before encountering a church member inside the building who was a volunteer security guard. Saying God guided her and protected her, Jean Assam heroically faced the heavily armed Murray and shot him with her personal concealed weapon. He then took his own life. Incidents like this have church security expert Jimmy Meeks sounding the alarm.
We're up to at least 473 confirmed violent deaths on church and faith-based property since 1999. And that number is equal to, or maybe slightly ahead of, the number of violent deaths that occur at schools that we hear about what seems like weekly.
An ordained minister since 1973 and a police officer for more than 33 years, Meeks wants churches and faith-based organizations to become aware of the violence and learn how to protect their congregations. He crisscrosses the country, helping lead what are called sheepdog seminars for churches. Meeks says there are 3 types of people: sheep, wolves, and sheepdogs. Simply put, sheepdogs protect the flock from wolves.
The main thing we tell churches, Mark, is that it's easy to know what to do if you can get beyond being blind about what's happening. 2013, we had a death in a church and faith-based property every 8 days, and every 2.5 days a violent incident occurring on church and faith-based property.
Well, what is the most common type of violence in a church?
The most common one we see is probably domestic violence. A man is mad at his wife. A church in Louisiana a couple of years ago, he simply went to the church, he pulled her out in the parking lot and shot her dead. We see that a lot. These guys get angry and they just don't care where their wife is. So churches need to be aware. If you're having domestic violence in your church, and you do have it somewhere. You know, church people do good at covering things up sometimes. You need to be aware of these things, and you just need to be ready. You need to be prepared.
The sheepdog seminars for churches are designed to help congregations and faith-based groups be prepared. Meeks and other experts appeal to churches to form what are called eyes and ears teams. The teams are made up of men and women whose assignment on a given day is to watch out for anyone and anything that would try to harm a congregation. Seminar leaders also advocate the use of spiritual weapons like fasting and prayer. They say the idea of protecting churchgoers is biblical, citing among other scriptures Nehemiah 4:9, which says, "We prayed to our God and posted a guard." Mark Martin, CBN News.
What is the new beatitude? Blessed are the fully armed, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
Theirs is the safe congregation. Yeah.
There's the safe.
Well, those numbers are staggering, though,
They are
aren't they?
staggering. You know, I really believe that if the bad guys understand that the citizenry are able to react against them, then they won't be as free to go into a crowded mall or a school or a church and start blowing people out. I do believe that if people are trained with firearms and they're able to protect themselves, I don't think it'll lead to more violence. It'll lead to less. And that's what the statistics, I think, that are available to us show, that when there are people, the idea of having citizens who are trained, or to have off-duty police in your church is not a bad thing.
Well, so many of these shooters are mentally unbalanced.
Exactly.
You know, you can't predict something like that, but you sure can be
You
prepared.
never know, but if somebody's there, and you know, that one lady, the guy shot 2, but then his rampage was over. He could have taken out 10 or 20 innocent people. So anyhow, it's something to consider. It's something you don't even think about. You want to go to church to praise the Lord. You don't want to go to church to shoot people or to get shot. Terry.
Well, still ahead, a motocross dare